He's a Bond villain, a Billboard Top 10 singer, Hollywood veteran. I got to know him as Jake Fratelli in The Goonies, cult classic, and now he's directing, adding that to his resume too. And the film that he is directing, forthcoming, titled My Son Hunter, which he says is more nefarious, the whole story with that, more nefarious than Watergate. Actor, director, and singer Robert Davi joins me now. Robert, good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while. I remember when we first met with Andrew. Back in the day.
Yes, that is correct. Many years ago. And you've been, good memories, very good memories. Well, it's good to see you, and I'm so pleased to see that you are staying super busy. You're in so many things, which we'll talk about. But I have to ask you about this, because this movie, My Son Hunter, you're working with some other good friends of ours that we also got to know through our mutual late friend Andrew Breitbart, Ann McElhenney and Fela McLear, and of course the great couple. I've known them for years. My Son Hunter, telling the story of Hunter Biden. This is tricky. What made you want to direct this, and how are you going to handle this content?
Hunter's story, of course, and I've written for Breitbart for years. I've always been very outspoken conservative. And the Hunter Biden story and Joe Biden story is this is one of the biggest underreported stories in the world. And a lot of people don't know the details of it. And it deals with everything that I think families are dealing with in terms of addiction. My family, I had an ex who had a very terrible addiction, and a couple of kids of mine that came out through the other side, thank God, for now. But it's a dangerous, dangerous disease. And I don't want to demonize that aspect of his life, but show what that can do, and how now, as someone who's so powerful as his father, and how he, it's kind of nefarious what happened with that laptop. And what happened in terms of the deals that were made. In other words, why aren't we holding China accountable today? Why aren't things in terms of it really investigating about this virus? What's holding back our government from doing that, our president from doing that? And so the story is told, I want to tell it not in a demonizing way, because I think sometimes they'll think, the left does that. They'll take the story and absolutely just demonize the thing. I'm just going to tell the truth. And there's a film called American Hustle by David O. Russell that has a terrific tone to it, and that's how I see this picture. And the script is very, you'll feel for Hunter Biden, and you'll make your own decisions with certain things. And it also has a satirical end to it, aspect to it, and it's all told through the eyes of a 22-year-old girl who is a left progressive, who then goes through a transition. So this is what's interesting to me, because I feel that our conservative films, we speak to a certain amount of the public, and culture is has been so co-opted by the left, and they're able to capture the imagination of the youth. So how do you do this? How do you send a message out there or show a film that can appeal to someone who doesn't necessarily think the way you do, but is open to the truth? Is open to discovering something that has been manipulated by the corrupt media that we see today in the world.
And you're right on this, because it's very easy, and especially someone who's kind of a polemic as I am, and you're very, you're pretty conservative, and I've read your stuff, I've followed you for years, I know exactly where you fall down on that line. It can be very easy because of the overwhelming the different story arcs that are in this. I mean, you have the whole thing with Burisma. You have this member of a very privileged family in an era where everyone's been talking about privilege, and we have cancel culture where people are canceled for just the simplest things. But yet here you have the son of the president of the United States who can have, to try to deny a child that he had with an ex in Kentucky, and then deals with, the loss of his brother and then his father, and there's issues with father issues as well, and then with the brother's widow, and I mean, there's so many things here. That has to be so incredibly difficult, especially, like I said, going through that perspective of knowing how harshly the country has been judged. You've been criticized for your politics before. It's very difficult to, I don't know if grace is the right word that I want, but very much stick to the facts do speak for themselves, but it's very it would seem very difficult for me if I were you directing this to balance all of this out. And as you said, just tell the story and let the people decide. I mean, do you struggle with that when you're approaching this? This is why I admire directors. I could never do this.
Well, first off, my 45 years in the business, working with all the great directors and talents from Marlon Brando to Sinatra to Clint Eastwood to, I have a wide, beyond what people would think, a range of training, and also in terms of all the theater I did. But as an actor, when I approach a character, Dana, I have to approach that character as a human being. I don't demonize. Even if I played, as you said, Bond, James Bond, a villain, and a baddie in a Bond film, I don't approach him as if he's a baddie. I have to justify the human being. And that's what makes an interesting film and what makes interesting characters. Now, the actions that you show, that's what the audience judges. I could be the sweetest guy in the world, but if I'm killing a kitten, that's going to have a response. So you have a guy that's getting $83,000 a year smoking a crack pipe, and daddy looking the other way. So things will show, they will just tell the truth. Humanize the characters, humanize the situation, so the audience can buy it. Throw in the satirical humor to it, of course, because it's about money and power and avoidance. And to me, the indictment, if I was going to show anything, as the evil, is the media, more so than what's happening, because to me the negligence. The big negligence is on the media. And as we saw what happened with Cuomo today, they have this whole big thing about his innocence, and then he comes out and resigns. I mean, so it's and the media, unfortunately, or fortunately, was not on his side. Unlike, for whatever reason, Joe Biden gets a pass from the left, at least for now. For now. And even take the case of the border, the negligence on the border, what's happening to us, and the fighting, as you're a big advocate, the fighting for taking our guns, weapons. You know what I mean? How making an excuse of inner city violence, as the left continues to do. So if you ask this story about a lot of people, I was talking to Anne, she was in Ireland, and other people, they don't know this story, this Biden story. They don't know the details of the Burisma, of the Chinese money, of the deals made, the Russian mafia woman that got him a couple of $1 million. So that's all part of this story. And in I'm reading his memoir.
Oh, his book.
His confession.
Yeah, his book that's out.
His confessional novel. And it's touching and it's moving, because I have to read, I have to take that, I have to digest it as an actor, so I don't want to do a typical hit job. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not a typical hit job. It's got to be where the audience can get into these characters, feel for this man, and go, oh my God, this happened. This is the relationship between father and son, and justify, because that's more interesting filmmaking to me.